Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl moveset guide. Today's video is going to be all about Roserade, so let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Roserade is a Grass Poison type Pokemon with access to 3 abilities, the first of which being Natural Cure, which is an ability that heals this Pokemon of any status it might have when it switches out of battle. And its second ability is known as Poison Point, which gives this Pokemon a chance to poison opponents that damage it with a contact move. As for its last ability, it is known as Technician, which boosts the power of moves that have a 60 base power or less by 50%, thus allowing Roserade with using this ability to deal some pretty good damage with some of its weaker attacks if you're going for their secondary effects. As for the stats though, it has a base 60 HP and 65 defense, showing that it's not that physically bulky, but it does have a really great base 105 special defense, showing that it can take special hits much better. On the offensive side of things, you have a similar story here where its physical attack isn't that great, being only base 70, but it has a really nice base 125 special attack. And that coupled with its 90 speed stat, which is pretty good, not the fastest thing, but definitely among the faster things that you're going to be running into, allows Roserade to be a pretty powerful offensive threat. Now previously, in the original Gen 4 games, Roserade was an OU Mon for a lot of different reasons that I think are a little bit more obsolete now than they previously were, namely due to the fact that this Pokemon has many ways of setting up hazards on your opponent's side of the field, and now that Defog removes hazards, it's a lot less effective. Similarly, I think there are a lot more powerful physical threats than there may have previously been, thus giving Roserade also a little bit of a harder time than it might have had previously in the original Gen 4. But we'll see how things shake out in the next coming months or so as we use this Pokemon a little bit more. But with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the first moveset that I have for you in this video. So for this first moveset, we're going to go ahead and run Roserade as an offensive hazard setter. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Tip in Nature to boost its speed but lower its physical attack, and run the Natural Cure ability. As for the EVs, we're going to put 4 into its defense, 252 into its special attack, and 252 into its speed to max out its special attack and speed. And we're going to be using this alongside either the Focus Sash item to make it so that we can live any attack from full health with at least 1 HP, or the Black Sludge item if we're not really using this in that type of lead position or worried about hazards being up to ruin our Focus Sash, as this will give you a little bit more sustain throughout the battle if you're going to be switching in and out, and allow you more opportunities to set up your hazards with getting a little bit of health back in the process. And for those hazards, the first one that we can use here is going to be Toxic Spikes, which you can set up a total of 2 layers of to poison your opponents when they switch into battle. The first layer just gives you regular poison, the second layer gives you toxic poison, and this is actually more and more interesting as the new games come out, as if you've been seeing and noticing, things don't just learn toxic anymore. You can't just throw toxic on any defensive Pokemon, so having a reliable way of poisoning things is very, very useful and sought after nowadays, as it's not as easily to be done as before. But alongside this, we could also just run spikes for the option of damaging our opponents every time they switch in. We can set up a total of 3 layers of them, but do keep in mind that spikes are avoided by Pokemon with the Levitate ability or our flying types. Alongside this though, we can run Leaf Storm or Giga Drain as our main stab grass move, Leaf Storm obviously being the stronger option, but lowering your special attack when you damage your opponent, whereas Giga Drain is a little bit more useful for sustain, as you'll be recovering health when you damage your opponents with this. But either way, Sludge Bomb will be our go-to special attack for that very powerful 90 base power, and also the chance to poison things, and the 30% chance is what you would get with that. And finally, for the last move on the set, we can either run Synthesis for some more sustain, as this will give us a way of recovering health more reliably than maybe Giga Drain, or we could go ahead and run Sleep Powder as a way to put things to sleep, which can be very nice for allowing you to have more opportunities to set up hazards, since your opponent won't be able to attack while they're asleep. But if you want to just run both hazards on the set, you can go Spikes here as well. Now, another way we can also run this moveset is by running it defensively. So the only thing we would really have to do here is to just change up the nature and EV spread and just always run Black Sludge. And so to do that, we're going to switch it up to a Calm Nature to boost our special defense but lower our physical attack, and go with an EV spread of 252 HP, 252 special defense, and 4 speed EVs to maximize your special defense. And this moveset will give Roserade more opportunities to switch in against a variety of more specially offensive opponents, and thus continue to set up hazards against them more easily than maybe the offensive set, which is just a little bit more of a threat in and of itself. Moving on to this next moveset, we're going to be using Roserade as a special sweeper to make great use of its awesome special attack stat. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Tip in Nature to boost its speed but lower its physical attack, run the Natural Cure ability again, and the same EV spread as the first set to maximize our special attack and speed by putting 252 EVs into both of those, with the remainder 4 into its defense stat. As for the item on this set, we're either going to go ahead and run a Choice Scarf to boost our speed while locking us into a move, choice specs to boost our special attack while locking us into a move, or a life orb to boost the power of all of our attacks at the cost of losing 10% of our health every time we damage an opponent. But for the moves on the set, we're going to go ahead and start this off by running Leaf Storm, as this is one of the most powerful grass-type moves, and an amazing option for this Pokemon to use to deal insane amounts of grass-type damage against its opponents. Alongside this, we're also going to run a secondary grass-type move if you would like, to just give you another option as running a grass move if you're planning on staying in for more than 2 turns. So for that, Energy Ball is here, and also Giga Drain as an option for a little bit more sustain in an offensive set to potentially run here. Alongside this though, Sludge Bomb is going to be very useful for giving you a powerful poison type stab move. Also, that 30% chance to poison is very nice. And then for the last move slot, we have a couple of different options. Shadow Ball can be very interesting for allowing this Pokemon to have at least a decent neutral coverage option against a lot of things, as its stabs are resisted by steel type moves. Shadow Ball is also really nice because this Pokemon is weak to psychic type attacks, so this can be useful to potentially bait a psychic type Pokemon switch in and deal massive damage to it. Alongside this though, we also have Extra Sentry, which is another great coverage option because again, this Pokemon's stabs are also resisted by poison type Pokemon, and Extra Sentry hits them super effectively. Finally, if you just want an additional coverage option, Dazzling Gleam is also there to give this Pokemon a fairy type attack to make use of as well, based off of its really great attacking stat that we've been talking about this whole time. But no matter which you choose for this last option, just running its regular stab and then a secondary coverage move can be very beneficial. Otherwise, if you want to get rid of Energy Ball or Giga Drain in favor of one of these other coverage options, that would work well for allowing you to have a little bit more type coverage on this moveset. Now, in addition to being a great hazard setter and a great special attacker, Roserade is also an amazing Leech Seed user. So we're going to start this one off for this set by giving it again the Timid Nature, the Natural Curability, and the same EV spread as before. And for the item this time, we're going to go ahead and run Black Sludge to give it that added recovery that it would get at the end of a return because it is a poison type. But for the moves on the set, the first one that we're going to go with is going to be either Protect or Substitute to allow this Pokemon to basically shield itself from an attack. Substitute obviously costs 25% of your HP, but it is very easy to get that back due to this Pokemon's very low HP stat and access to Leech Seed, which will be draining its opponent's HP back and turning it into your own HP recovery. And as mentioned previously, because this Pokemon has a low HP stat, you can make substitutes a lot more easily while Leech Seeding because the amount of recovery that you're getting from your opponent is going to translate to more of your health than, say, a bulkier grass-type Pokemon like Torterra. But alongside this, we're going to go ahead and run Sludge Bomb, and the really cool thing about this is that anything that cannot be Leech Seeded, aka grass types, are hit super effectively by Sludge Bomb, which is absolutely amazing. And if you by chance get the poison on the opponent, they're going to be losing a ton of health at the end of a return in combination with the Leech Seed damage they're also taking. Finally, for the last move slot, there's actually a lot of things we can run here because we really only need the first 3 moves. But we can run Giga Drain just as a good, sustainable grass-type attack to give you both of your stabs, and this can also be really good for allowing you to make substitutes even more easily because you'll get even more recovery back from that. We can also go ahead and run Sleep Powder for the ability to put things to sleep, or run Spikes or Toxic Spikes if we want to as well, to run a Leech Seeding set that can also set up hazards. This move slot is very flexible in what you want to do with it because we really only need the first 3, like I said previously. But either way, Roserade is an absolutely amazing Sub-Seeder or Protect Leech Seeder, whatever you want to call it, and is another really awesome option for you to consider when running a moveset for this Pokemon. Finally, for the last moveset of this video, we're going to be running Roserade Physically Offensive, which is not something you see it generally do, but it can actually be done pretty effectively. So we're going to start this one off by giving it either a Jolly Nature to boost your speed but lower your special attack, or an Adamant Nature to boost your physical attack but lower your special attack, and going with the Technician ability this time, alongside an EV spread of 252 attack, 4 defense, and 252 speed EVs to maximize its physical attack and speed. And for the item on the set, since we are using its weaker attack stat, you might want to consider running a Life Orb for the added power that it gives you at the cost of losing 10% of your health when you damage your opponent, or just go ahead and run Black Sludge for the added recovery that you get, as that is beneficial even on a more offensive set like this one. But for the moves, we're going to start this off by running Swords Dance, which is going to go ahead and boost Roserade's physical attack stat by 2 stages and make it significantly more powerful. Because of this move, this is the only reason why this set is even worth considering. I would just throw that out there. But alongside this, we're going to go ahead and run Bullet Seed. And this is a very interesting move to use alongside a Pokemon that gets the Technician ability, which most of you will be seeing this be used alongside Breloom. But Roserade can do this too, albeit significantly weaker, but it still can do it, so it's something I want to show with you all. Bullet Seed is normally a 25 base power attack that can hit up to 5 times, and this will be boosted by Technician, making it significantly more powerful. This Pokemon also does have access to Power Whip as well, but Bullet Seed is significantly more reliable, and Power Whip is only better if you only really hit 2 times. It's slightly better if you hit Bullet Seed 3 times, but if you hit 4 or more, it's always better. So just keep that in mind. Power Whip is just a little bit unreliable. But alongside this, Poison Jab is going to be your main stab poison move. Again, this also has a 30% chance to poison on the physical side, like Sludge Bomb does on the special side. And then for your last attack, unfortunately, Roserade doesn't really learn much else, but we do have access to Pin Missile, which is another attack that actually gets boosted by Technician and gives you a very powerful bug move to use as a result. But if you would like to go with something a little bit more reliable to possibly set up more so, you can go ahead and run Sleep Powder to put things to sleep and give you an opportunity to freely set up Swords Dance afterwards. But anyways, everybody, that is it for this video on Roserade. This Pokemon is definitely still really, really cool. It's definitely a fan favorite from Gen 4. And I look forward to continuing to use it, especially that Leech Seeding set, which I have found to be so good for it because it can do so many different things. But as always, everybody, be sure to take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.